And we are back for season 4 of Behind the Uniform. This is the platform that allows us to share financial literacy lessons from the perspective of guys on the football team. We've had several notable alums that have gone on not only to have great Michigan careers or continue great Michigan careers, but now some of our Behind the Uniform alums are in the National Football League, which we are very, very proud of, because those guys ought to have a leg up on how to be managing their money. But it is time for the next crop, the next crew, guys who are going to do their thing moving forward, both on and on the field. And first up to the bat, first up to the plate, young man who was one of the most heralded prospects in the country, jumped over a lot of programs, a lot of conferences to make his way up to Michigan and the Big Ten. And then when given the option to leave, like a lot of guys, decided to stay. I'm talking about Mr. Enow Etta. Eno, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing great, man. Glad to be with you. Obviously, you are a guy that Michigan fans have followed fervently since you were a top-rated recruit. So let's just start there. Let's start with that process of when you started to blow up, when you knew that, yeah, I can do it at a high level. I could do it at the college level and not just be a guy, but be the guy. When did you start realizing that?
To be honest, I mean, I think it was when I came to college, because I started playing football my freshman year. So I wasn't like most guys where it was like, you know, I built my whole life and my whole identity around football. Like, originally it was something I started playing for fun, and then moving to Dallas my freshman, like the summer in my freshman year, I'm like, you know, what's the quickest way to make friends? And, you know, when we were touring the school I went to, it was like the football team was on the field. So I'm like, shoot, that's probably, they told us that like most of the dudes, like it was a small school. So half the guys that went to the school played football. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, shoot, like I might as well, that's the easiest way to get integrated. I started playing. And then, you know, my senior year was probably like, shoot, I could really, you know, do this. Like I had like 19 sacks. I'm like, man, like, you know, I know college is different than high school, but like, I could do this. You know what I mean? So I always had that belief. And, you know, it's been a lot of learning because, like I said, I wasn't playing till high school. So it was a lot, you know, getting used to. Even now, like, it's still some stuff I'm learning, but, you know, I think I'm in a real good spot.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I have said in interviews, you look at the great Michigan defensive linemen that have come through and how they are freakish athletically. I was like, Eno is athletically, Eno is freakish like that. And then they'll be like, well, what are you talking about? Like, look, you're talking about a guy who is different from them in that those dudes are playing since Little League. Eno's learning curve started a little later. So what about that piece of it, your adjustment? How quick did you make the adjustment in high school? Yeah. And what has the adjustment been like for you in college? Has it been as quick?
The thing with high school is I wouldn't even call it an adjustment. Like, I started playing edge. I never really learned plays. They just told me, like, hey, you know, if it's run, you got the C gap. If you want to shoot the B gap and make a play, you know, we don't care. Just make the play. And then pass rush, same thing. Like, rush the C gap. If you want to shoot the B gap, you better make the play. That's all they told me. Mm-hmm. So it was like, I had no concept of a play, you know? And I come to college, it's like, they hand me a playbook, you know, and obviously we like ease into it gradually. Like, we don't have to know everything all at once, but it's like a completely new concept to me. Like, I don't know anything about coverage, you know, none of that stuff. So like, it was almost like a culture shock, you know, and then obviously over the years, like, I understand a lot now, you know, but I think it was like, there was a lot of extra work I had to put in where, like, I think some guys like already came with that understanding. I didn't have any of that.
Right.
You know?
And then you compound your learning curve by they want you to put on a lot of weight. They want you to play inside. Yeah. And that's a different world. So what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was tough because my whole, you know, I had played edge, you know, my whole D-end, I guess you could say, my whole, you know, as long as I've been playing football. So I was always on the bigger side, but I was a good enough athlete where, like, the coaches, you know, were okay with it as long as I didn't get too big. And then after the national championship, like, I was like the lightest I'd ever been. And then I was like, yeah, it's looking like good for next year. And then obviously Coach Harbaugh leaves for the NFL. And the new staff comes in, they're like, oh, we gotta, like, we're light in the D tackle room. We got a 270, 275 edge. Like, he looked like he could put some meat on his bones. One day they told me, go to the D tackle meet, and I never went back. And, so once it got to that point, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I accepted it. Like, I think some people think I just put on weight and they just had to move me. Like, nah, like, I just had to put on weight because I'm like, bro, I'm 275, getting smashed on the double team my first day in practice. Like, I mean, like, I might as well embrace it. Like, I gotta eat, So it's like, I'm not, I can't hold it, So once that came in, it was tough. It was a few months where, like, I didn't accept it. Like, I was like, man, like, this some BS, man. Like, they told me I was gonna play edge, like, I was hurt. And then, like, it wasn't really until, like, fall camp, like, my sophomore year, where it was really like, okay, like, these are the cards I was dealt. So, what am I gonna do with it? I mean, like, just play my part to be part of the team. And then obviously, like, sophomore year, I was playing a little bit, trying to get the feel. But, like, I don't think I was really, in with my body, like, it was I never put my hand in the dirt ever until, that transition. So it was like, I was just learning. And even last year, like, I think a lot of football players, like, you always like, I'm gonna be ready. Like, it's my, like, but it's like, looking back, it's like I wasn't ready. I didn't give myself enough grace. I just wanted to be on the field, but it's like I had a lot of growing to do. And so, just putting it all together, that's the biggest thing, for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you gotta have a internal drive and a spirit and a confidence about you, but it always helps if you have someone that is kind of helping you, pushing you along and bringing you along and teaching you. Who was that person? Who were those people for you that kind of kept you like, hey, you all right? It's coming. Who are those people for you?
I think the biggest one was Coach Espo. Obviously, he's gone now, but he was the reason. I mean, I would say I'm in the position where I am today, because he would always encourage me. Like, I would go to his office, like, man, I don't think I could do this. Like, I just might need, like, I've never really been a quitter, but it was like, man, like, I don't know if I could do this, like, you know what I'm saying? And he was, like, always encouraging me, like, telling me, like, what he thinks I could do. And then once I started seeing myself doing it little by little, like, I really started to believe it. So without him, I didn't know if I could do this because I was at a low point, like, getting switched. I was like, it wasn't as big as, getting switched to offense to defense, but it was like a complete, like, it's a completely different world. And I can say that playing both positions, like, D tackle is a completely different, world, especially when you're in that 2-eye or that 0.
So explain to people what's so different about being on the edge versus being inside.
Well, I'll say this, like, pass rush especially, you're free. Like, you could take 3, 4, maybe 5 steps depending on how you're lined up before you get to the tackle. You're in the trenches, like, 3 tech, 2-eye, 0, 1 step, you already at the guard. And if that guard jumps at you, it might not even be a step. Like, the second you get out of your stance, he jump you, he's on you, like, right now. So it was a lot of adjusting with that. And then in, like, the run, like, there's so much you have to kind of think about. Like, when I was on the edge, like, you going against a tackle, probably what you're getting. He's either, coming at you, he's going down, or, like, he's pulling, or he's trying to reach you. And then there might be a tight end outside, but it's like when you inside, it's like, especially like you in the 2-eye, like even if I'm a 3 tech in the B gap, that tackle could be coming down on me. This guard could be pulling in the center coming at me. So it's just like so many, I feel like more possibilities, that can happen. And like, then, on the edge where I feel like you're kind of more free, but like, inside it's like, you're kind of like in the mix of everything,
And so you got a lot of sort of conflicting issues. You're learning a new position. You aren't really feeling like you aren't really big enough at the same time. And then you got a lot more to process. As you've gotten more experience, as you've gotten bigger and stronger, have you just been able to play and not think as much? I mean, I know there's thinking to your job, but have you just been able to play more?
I think, especially, like, I could say, like, this spring ball was probably the best I've been at, not thinking, and just playing. Like you said, like, obviously I got to think about my play, my job. I'm looking at the backfield. What do I think is coming, But, like, I think this spring ball out of my whole career at Michigan was, like, the most especially since playing D tackle was like the most like I think put together. And I think I put that on show, you know, at the spring game. I played like 10 snaps, but you know, like it's just like the feel, like I feel like, you know, it's really come together, you know what I mean? And you know, I can't wait to put it on, you know, show this fall. You know?
So let's talk about where you are physically, Enow, because like I said, you were a freak athlete as an edge coming in, but you had to add some weight, and you talk to anybody around the program, it's like, man, this dude is still a freak. Yeah. So where are you, height, weight? What are some of the metrics maybe that you hit in terms of training?
I mean, right now, like, I mean, obviously I'm still like 6'4", 6'5", probably 6'4" and a half. I'm like probably somewhere between 315 and 318 right now. I probably want to play a little bit lighter just so, you know, I could run. You know, I want to, you know, chase. I want to chase down. I think that's part of my game. You know, I was doing it in high school. I want to do it now still, you know, put that athleticism on display. So, yeah, I mean, and so I guess in terms of metrics, like, I mean, I say, I don't really know because, like, I know, like, spring, you know, we weren't, even now, like, we weren't doing a lot of, like, running, but, like, in the weight room, like, you know, we're doing a lot more than what we did last year. Like, like my 225, like, has gone up. Like, my squat has gone, like, insane. Like, for me who has big legs, like, that's something, like, I need, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, I mean, I think it's been, you know, really good. I mean, my main thing is just, you know, being conditioned. Like, you know, there's going to be 10-play drives. There's going to be all of that, but, you know, you want to be, like Coach Black, the D-line coach, he always, like, emphasizes to me, like Trey Jones, all the guys, like, how many plays can you be your best? You know, like, if it's a 10-play drive, are you 3 plays good and then you dropping off? So it's like, that's the biggest thing I think a lot of us guys are emphasizing, like, being in the best shape that works for us. And I don't even know, you know, what that is. That's something I'm going to experiment with in camp. Like, if I'm like 320 and I feel like, yeah, this is good, then that's where I'll be. But if I have to be like, you know, 305, you know, with a little less weight, but like more room for, you know, endurance, if that's what I feel like is best, you know, that's what I'm going to have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we'll dig into the new coaches, the new program and scheme coming up. But let's rewind a little bit because Espo was your dude. He helped convince you that this could work for you at a high level, right? And so you got a coaching change. You think Espo's gonna stay, then he leaves. You got a decision to make, you know. What do? Do you go elsewhere or do you stay? Take me through your thought process and what was it that made you decide, you know what, I'm gonna stick it out here?
Yeah, so obviously, you know, we had a coaching change, you know, due to situations, you know what I mean? And my thought was like, for one, I'm like, I might need to go back home. Just, you know, to be with my mom and sister. You know, it's like, that's why like I visited like A&M, like that was close to home. The leaving situation was just like, it was tough because it was like, in my heart, it was like, you know, Michigan, you know, was where it's at. Like I put in a lot of work here. Like I said, I'm not a quitter. I didn't want to give up. But at the same time, it was like, in my head, I'm like, staying is the same thing as being in the portal because it's a new coaching staff gonna come in. 90% of the staff, give or take, is probably gone. That's just what happens. So I'm like, you know, Michigan was always on my mind, but I'm like, I might as well, you know, go see what's out there. You know, maybe there's, you know, opportunity. And, you know, I think, you know, they give guys a lot of slack, you know, but I think that's just how the world works. You know, like, you know, when things happen at a company, like people explore options, but like when it comes to us players, they're like, oh, they're not loyal. They're not loyal. I'm like, I'm on Twitter sometimes. I read this stuff. I'm like, man, if you got a job and an opportunity comes in that pays you double, nobody's thinking about loyalty. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that like, guys shouldn't be loyal, because you know, a lot of programs like make people who they are. But it's like, I don't think it's right to like leave for money. Like money for me was never the factor. Like you were, you know, asking about high school. Like there were schools coming to me throwing all types of numbers and, you know, way more than, you know, and this was like 2023 that like NIL wasn't even, you know what I mean? So I'm like a 16, 17-year-old kid, like, whoa, like my phone probably got like $1,000 in it, you know? from a summer internship. So I'm like, man, but I just think, Michigan was the right choice. And that was the same headspace I had, getting into the portal. I mean, I heard from every school. I know it's funny because, like, when I came back, people were inboxing me like, oh, yeah, like, grass ain't always greener. Like, you ain't, like, them schools didn't want to take you. I'm
no.
I didn't, like, want to post any Hayes Fawcett graphic or, anything saying, like, oh, I heard from these schools. But, like, when I tell you, like, bro, my phone was ringing every 5 minutes at different schools. Like, it was insane. But I think, the biggest thing was just, coming back was just, like, just finish, what I started. Guys like, Trey Pierce, Jake Winera, Andrew Sprague, they're like, man, like, like, let's do this. Like, we gonna come back. Like, let's do this. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I think it's right to finish what I started, Because like I said, if it was about the money, it was never about the money. It was just about finding the best fit. So when I really sat with it, and I prayed, and I just felt like, you know what? Like, I think I'm gonna, finish what I started here and at least, give it an attempt, and, build it with the guys that I've been building with since freshman year, like camps, all these guys. So I think, that was really important for me. And of course, the Michigan degree, all the connections I built here and, the opportunities I've gotten here, it's like, why throw that away to go to, like, somewhere else where I don't know anybody, and then they just see you as a hired gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you just a 1-2 year mercenary. But it's like here, like, people, like, have embraced me since I've gotten here, as, like, family. And it's like, why, throw that away? Because like I said, it wasn't about the money. I wasn't trying to get, like, so it was like, why throw away all those connections? Because that's what's important to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can attest to, and we actually covered this, one of the most coveted defensive line prospects in the portal, without question. I know that separate from you, we reported on that. Yeah. So I can definitely back you up on that one. But we'll come back to football. Yeah. Now you talk about money and having to think through how you manage your finances. Can you make generational wealth? You can as a college player, especially if you manage it right. Yeah. That's one of the things we focus on in the Financial Literacy Bootcamp. So, I know one of the things you did for the first part of the Financial Literacy Bootcamp is you made your way over to meet with Dave Hemmick from Morgan Stanley. Now, you are a guy who seems like you had already been contemplating your financial future. So take me into where you've been in that, as far as that headspace is concerned, and what, if anything, did you take away from your time with Dave?
I've always been, save guy. Like, that's just how my dad was. That's what I learned. I mean, obviously I'm not exactly like him. Like, he, like, you would think, I don't know if he bought a new pair, a pant, like, he been wearing the same clothes since, I've been young, So he, like, a little more cheap than me. But, my MO when I, like, they started this whole paying thing was like, I'm going to try to save as much as I can. So as of right now, I think, like, the last 2 years, like last year and what I got now, like, my MO has been, like, save 95%, of my NIL. Like, I moved into another apartment just to, I just live off, the rent stipend they give us. And then if it's an emergency, or it's like maybe 1 month, I need something nice, or like I want to send my sister shopping, or my mom something nice. But like for the most part, like I think I saved like 95%, of the NIL money, we got, like, and it's tough, man. Like, you were asking about my headspace, like, man, it's hard, you pull up to the facility, you see all these cars, your boys got, it's like, man, I'm still in my Toyota 4Runner. But that's just like a head, you got to be at, like, my thing is like, when it comes to big purchases, is like, do I need it? Do I need it now? I mean, it's a blessing to say, like, really most things I see, like, I could get it if I really want it. Like, I have the means to get it, which is, a blessing I can't take for granted. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, it don't make sense. I mean, right now I'm at the point, I'm 21, like, but a lot of people my age don't think about the future. Like we young, we lit. Like, no, like, I think that, that don't mean I'm just sitting in the house all day not having fun.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, I understand that, for one, you know, they always preach like NIL don't last forever, football don't last forever. So I'm like, how much, you know, can I stack up, you know, and make work for me? Like most of my money is, you know, invested right now. Like a blessing, you know, like working on, you know, getting properties, you know. I'm doing like the Matt Lester internship right now, literally. And like, that's like someone like I'm, you know, in the process of working with, you know, things like that just to, you know, make it work for you. Cause I think a lot of the connections you make from being a football player, it's hard to, you know, do that, you know, in the real world. It's like establish that stuff now. So like 10 years down the line, like I could call like Dave, you know, or Matt Lester and like, you know, like that's, you know, those are connections that people will pay money for, in my opinion, based on what I've learned from them. It's like, you know what I mean? Like there's probably people 10 years older than me that wish they had this information still, you know?
Yeah, man, it takes discipline
Yeah.
to have your approach be to investing what it is, and it takes discipline to have your approach to spending, given the environment you're in. Which takes us to the second part of the financial literacy boot camp, and that is sitting over at UMCU with your teammates to go through a bunch of financial literacy exercises. So Enow Etta here on the Playbook for Prosperity here at the University of Michigan Credit Union. Just take me through what your biggest takeaways from today are.
The biggest thing for me, which was very important, was credit. When I had my first credit card, you know, literally the first month I had my first credit card, it was tough. It felt like free money, you know, and obviously I knew what a credit card was, so I didn't go crazy, but you know, when I got the bill, I was very, you know, I was very disappointed in myself, you know?
Right.
And I think just learning, you know, the repercussions of that and the repercussions of not thinking about credit. And then the other thing for me was just having a plan with your money. I think a lot of people don't have a plan. Like you look at, you know, guys who make a lot of money quick, like guys in our profession, like football, and you go buy houses or buy luxury cars, but you're not thinking about the maintenance. You know, you're not thinking about the property taxes. You're not thinking about the mortgage if you took out one or if you bought it cash, you know? So I think just having a plan with your money, like I get a paycheck, 40% is going here, 15% is going here, 10%, you know, is going here, the other 35% is going here, you know? Having a plan, I think, can give your money longevity and you can make it work for you. And I think that's what this is all about, is making money work for you. I mean, a lot of athletes, all over the country are in a blessed position where, you know, we're making, you know, a lot of money more than, you know, some of us know what to do with. So I think having a plan for the future and making that money work for you, I think is how you solidify, you know, not only longevity with money, but longevity with the lifestyle that you want.
So the lesson that you're gonna apply the quickest from what you learned today is what?
I would say have a plan. I already had a plan, like we talked about, you know, on your podcast, like saving, but you know, I work, you know, I'm in the process of, you know, trying to get a solidified, you know, a second financial advisor. And just to make sure that every dollar I have has a meaning. I think that was the biggest thing, you know. Like every dollar I have has a meaning. Like if there's money in my checking account, like, you know, that has a meaning. Like I get a paycheck, like there's a designated place for everything. Like there's some saving, there's some investments. You know, there's some, maybe I want to send my sister shopping, you know, like, you know how it is. And it's just like every dollar has a meaning. And I think when you give a dollar a purpose, you know, that helps you really manage your money rather than just having the money and it's like, oh, whenever things come up, then you just spend. Whenever you get the urge, you just spend. And before you know it, you know, you're looking at your balance like, you know, oh man, it's gonna be a rough month. You know what I mean? So yeah, just, you know, having that purpose for, you know, every dollar, especially at our young age. I mean, we really don't need much. You know, so, you know, really saving it not for a rainy day, but, you know, for the future. Like, you put that money away, you know, 10 years, 20 years, like, man, when you're 30, it's probably going to be some, like, you let it work for you, you let it stack, you know, that $10 investment turns to 30, 40, 50, like, on every $10 investment you make, like, you're going to be thanking yourself when you're 30, like, man, I'm glad I did that. Like, now I could go buy a house cash when, you know, you never know how the economy's going to look, you know, and you're putting yourself in the position, you know, to really end up in a good spot.
I tell you, my lesson is when I grow up, I want to be like Enow Etta, for sure. As always, man, appreciate your time. That's Enow Etta here on the Playbook for Prosperity. Transition back into talking about football. So you made the decision to stay.
Yeah.
Right? And so Espo looks like he's staying and then he's leaving. Were you surprised when the news came down that he's going to the Ravens?
I mean, yeah, I definitely was. I actually got a call from someone who's in the NFL. They called me. This was after I made the decision to stay.
Right.
And they were like, is Espo leaving? And I'm like, not that I know of. Why? And they were like, oh, like, somebody told me, the Cardinals or someone was trying to reach out. I'm like, yeah, I haven't heard anything. And then I went and talked to him, and he was like, yeah, like, the future, obviously, not certain, but, And I was like, hey, man, like, you got to do what's best for you.
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? Like I said, I'm one of the people who believe, like, when the opportunity presents itself, you got to, take it. And then, obviously, I think it was like a week or two later, like not even a few days later, he called me and was like, I took the job with the Ravens. And I'm just in my apartment like, dang. And, like, the best advice I got was when recruiting, they said, don't follow a coach.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, you got to do what's best for you. Like, I support you regardless. I mean, to me, I look at it, it's like, that's a connection in the league if he leaves. I mean, you always got to look at the positive, But, yeah, I mean, he called me and told me, he was leaving. And I was just like, dang, like, and then, like, guys were, like, on the D-line, like, we had, like, made, like, a whole FaceTime. And it was, like, guys that, were going to the draft and, like, guys that were staying on the team. They're like, oh, man, like, what's going on? And I was just like, man, like, it was kind of concerned. But it was, like, at that point, the whole staff was, like, already flipped. So it was, like, it was weird. Like, if it was, like, last year where, like, it was the same staff, but one guy was leaving, they'll be like, man, but the whole staff was already so different. It's like, like, it was tough to, obviously I was going to miss him because, like, that was my guy. Like, we had been through a lot together. But, at the end of the day, I'm happy. I mean, he did something, he, wanted to do. I mean, so, as tough as it was for us guys, it was like, that's someone you got to wish the best. He gave us everything he had every day till the day he left. Mm-hmm. You can't get too mad at someone when life gives them, when life gives them better opportunities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
all right. And so, listen, it's an opportunity with new coaches to see a fresh perspective, new ideas on how to get your game off. So what has that transition been like with Coach Black, Coach Powell? What have those guys been like?
Oh, yeah, Coach Black, I say he's a great coach. He's probably one of the younger coaches I had, but, like, it doesn't feel like it. Like, he's very, like, technical. Like, there's always, like, a method to the madness with him. And I think it's been great, like, especially for young guys. Like, it feels like they're picking up fast because, like, he can relate. Like, he didn't play, like, too long ago. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes you have coaches that didn't even play the position. Like, he played the position. He went to the NFL for the position. Like, he knows what it means and he knows what it takes, And, yeah, like, he's been great, I think every guy can attest to it. Like, I think a week since, like, he got hired and, like, a week later, like, I was talking to Trey and, like, I was like, yeah, like, this guy's legit. Like, they did a good job. Like, they definitely did a good job. And, like, he's, like, a great coach. And I think he's going to be a great coach for, for years to come.
So what part of your game, I know you haven't played games yet, but what part of your game has ascended the most in this time under the new staff, and what part of that is attributable to your time with Coach Black?
Yeah, I say definitely, like, my technique. That was the biggest thing. That was, like, a learning curve for me. Like, getting moved, like, a lot of times, like, you don't trust yourself because, like, I didn't have the experience, like, 2024, even parts of 25 is, like, I didn't have that, like, experience that guys been playing for the last, D-tackle for the last, like, 4 or 5 year minimum. Because, I mean, now that I know, like, I remember, I think Ray got moved, Rayshon Benny got moved, but, like, for the most part, like, guys, like, were used to the position. So, like, that part of being the guy where it's like, man, like, I don't really, I still don't really know how my body works under this, And so, like, being new to it, with my hands, my feet, like, just like I think the technique, and I think that's been people's, biggest critique of me. Is just, combining, athleticism with like, technique. Like, I think it's gotten better. I would say, I mean, there's only one way to find out.
Right.
Put it to the test this fall. But I mean, the thing, I've been told is like, I put flashes, but it wasn't consistent, And so I think just getting it more consistent every play was one thing that I hounded in spring ball, and there's one thing I'm going to hound in fall camp. And I think that, that's the biggest thing for me. And, that's advice I got from guys that left here, like, just, hone in on your technique, you'll be fine, And so that's been the biggest focus for me. And I think it's improved. I mean, talking to the coaches who, even though they're new here, like that have watched my tape from last year and then see how I performed in spring, like having talks with Coach Black, like, yeah. So I think, I think that's improving. I mean, there's always room for improvement. Like I'm nowhere near, a finished product. You know what I mean? So
You're taking leaps technically. You mentioned earlier taking leaps physically. So what's different about the strength and conditioning program, and give me some like tangible gains that you've made as far as that's concerned?
I would say running. Like we're running and conditioning a lot more. Like it was almost like a shock. Like the first few weeks, I'm like, bro, I've never ran this much in my life. Man, I did track. So I'm like, man, like I don't know how long I could last. Like, cause the last strength staff, like we weren't. Like it's such to say, we weren't as bigger guys, we weren't really running a lot. Like we were more in the weight room, a lot of skill positions we're running. But this staff, like everybody's running. We're doing agility, we're doing change of direction, we're doing, great stuff. I think that it's been long overdue, but it was just like to go from not really doing that to doing it a lot, like almost every day, every other day, it was just crazy. And I think it like the change of like, the agility stuff really helped with stuff like, like 3-cone drill, like stuff that we work, like I want to run a 40 bad, but they don't let me run a 40, they don't want me to pull nothing yet. So, but I mean, I run like a 20-yard split, and I think it was like a 2.7, 2.8, but when I ran it, it was like, I was big, I was like 330. So I don't know how accurate that is, but, I mean, like, I think like all the guys have seen, even the young guys that got here in the summer, like to now have probably seen gains. Like I know like my bench, like it's probably went up like 150 pounds, since probably winter workouts. Like
150 pounds since winter workout.
Yeah, I said like from what I thought I could do when they first got here, like what do you know you can do? And I did it to what like I'm doing now, like, and that like what I thought I could do probably wasn't my best, but it's like that's the most I was doing, like I wasn't doing it too heavy, but this staff really challenges you, and it's like, man, like you almost think like, man, like it's crazy, what you can do when you have a staff that, really pours into you and like pushes you. Like there have been times I'm like, man, like I don't know about this, coach. And they're like, nah, you got it, like we good. Like coach behind me spotted me, like I ain't gonna let you fail, but like you gotta go. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just go, and I do it. And I'm like, oh man, like you really believe in yourself. And I think the mental aspect is what people don't really realize. Like obviously physically you're getting better, but like when you really believe, like, yeah, like, I can do that, like, that pays dividends, to what you can do,
So, I mean, I got a sense of how much better you are technically and physically. And like you said, we'll see what that results in on the field. But you also have a sense of how you guys have improved as a group, right? There's a legacy of dominant defensive linemen at Michigan, right? I know that's a high bar to reach, but where do you kind of feel like this group falls in that mix? Like where do you feel like you guys are relative to where you were last year at this time, for instance?
I think the biggest thing is, a difference is that like last year, like we were more older guy heavy, like, we were rotating a lot of guys. Like we had like, 3 or 4 guys that were 5th-year seniors, and then it was me and Trey, 2 juniors. But like it was like way more top heavy with older guys, where I feel like this year, like we have a lot of younger guys, and like to see the strides that they made, like it's like, man, like when you hear like a group of younger guys, you're like, like, you know, like lack of experience, you know, you want to list all the excuses people put, you know, with younger guys. But I mean, like the group that we have, like, you know, like I think it's gonna shock a lot of people. And, you know, I like to get on there and say anything. I'm just like, I'll just say keep your eyes open because it's like it's gonna be some guys.
So no, we like to say something. So listen, I'm not trying to put pressure on guys.
Yeah.
But it's exciting
Yeah.
to hear what kind of strides guys are making in training. So we'll keep it in perspective and say it's training. But when you talk about strides, and maybe you can't list every guy, but what are some strides that, aside from your own, that kind of jump out at you that you noticed this offseason?
I mean, you want me to say like D-tackle, like my room?
Hey man, whoever you could be talking about quarterbacks if you want to.
I'll say the D-tackle room. Young kid, Alistair Vallejo, that's my Texas little brother, man. Yeah, he gonna be that, man. I mean, I won't put too much pressure on him, but like working with him in the drills, like even today we were working, like, yeah, like that kid got, you know, something special, and I think he's gonna be a great player here, you know.
So what is it that jumps out at you about Alistair?
I think it's just like his size and the way he moves, like it reminds me of somebody I know.
Yeah. When I watched him, I said, man, that's Mason Grant.
I don't want to say that.
Not to say he's gonna be, but
yeah.
he was a high school version of Mason.
Yeah, like he's quick, you know, he's strong, you know, like he throws weight around the weight room, like that kid, like he's gonna be a beast for sure, and like that's someone like I'm proud to say, like I'm an older guy, like you know when you're a younger guy, like guys take you under their wing. And I feel like that's someone that I'm proud to say, like, yeah, man, like, you know, like, I can't wait to see even when I'm gone, like, what he's doing, like, yeah, that's my boy right there, you know what I mean? But, yeah, definitely him, I mean, like, if you want to talk about guys on the team, like, there's probably guys that, you know, people, you know, can't say enough. Like, I mean, like, J.J. Buchanan, like, dude is a killer, you know? That's all that's the best way to put it. Like, he a killer. You know, spring ball, you know, and at workouts, like, you know, and there's like a lot of guys I can name, you know, because, you know, everybody's working hard, you know, but like it would be too long to name everybody,
right.
I think. But like I said, from my room, Alistair and, you know, Titan Davis, those two young guys, you know, for guys that just got here, you know, they definitely pop out at you, and I think they're gonna have great careers.
Yeah, you talk about two guys who look like grown men as freshmen. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna say Titan got a full-grown beard already. I don't even know if he's 18. I'm like, bro, I'm still struggling. Like, man, I can't even, you know, I can't do that. So it's just like, yeah, literally like grown man for sure. And I mean, I'm excited for camp, you know, to bring them along because, you know, if guys can play, they're gonna play. Coach Black made it, you know, very clear. So, you know, like, the earlier those guys can get experience, I think the better it is, you know, it's going to be for them. Like my freshman year, like obviously I was a DN, but like being in the big house, you know, I think I played 4 games because I had the conversation with the coaches, like, you know, we want to redshirt you. Like, I mean, we got like five guys ahead of you. Like, we don't need to burn your year, you know? And it was just like playing those games, like it played an impact, even though I probably played like 10 snaps garbage time, but like being in the big house, getting a feel, like that helped me. So sophomore year, even though I was in a different position, that was my first time being on the field. You know, the nervous jitters weren't as strong, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, so that's, I think, one thing that every young guy needs. You know, obviously some guys just aren't ready. Like, you can't just throw them out there to give them experience and they're not ready. But I mean, like, guys who are ready, I think is, you know, very valuable. So I think we got a lot of young guys on the team that are going to surprise people, like, you know, like Celeste, guys like that, like young, you know, young guys that like you know, like they some dogs, you know, and you know, Travis Johnson, like, you know, young guys like that. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna be a sight to see going into camp for me, and I mean, obviously for you guys, you know, like the season, like seeing, you know, who made those strides and who the coaches trust. Yeah, man,
it is gonna be exciting. So a couple guys as we wind down here that I want you to touch. First of all, scheme-wise, is it really different for you guys up front? Or are there a lot of similarities?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's completely different than what we've done, but I would say it is different, and I don't want to give any sauce.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, like I could speak for, you know, the stuff that I'm doing. Like is different, and like the thinking, like the, you know, kind of things I'm doing, like they are, it's similar, but it's different, you know, and but it's a great scheme, and I trust Coach Hill. You know, when I met with him for the first time, obviously I was still in the portal, so I came back, you know, to Michigan. Espo was like, come on, like meet the new staff, like, so I'm like, like, you know, yeah, like I'm not done with Michigan, like, you know what I'm saying, like, so yeah, I'll come, and talking to him, it was like, you know, he knows what he's doing, and you know, going through spring ball, it was definitely, you know, it was definitely a great feel. Like there was definitely a learning curve, and there was, you know, stuff getting used to. But it's the type of situation where it's just like, I'm gonna just trust the system. And when I really trusted it, like I found myself, you know, in the right place. And, you know, sometimes it was tough because, you know, Coach Beck, the OC, I mean, that dude, like, oh man, you know, he got some stuff in the arsenal. You know what I mean? He got some stuff in the arsenal, like.
Being on the team with your brother, man.
Oh yeah.
What's that like?
Yeah, it's cool. It's weird because like I don't want to be like hounding him. Like he was like, you know, growing up, like he was never a kid that's like wanted me to like do everything for him. So it's like I give him his space. Like I don't stay with him, and you know, like it seems like he's integrating well with his class. You know, I don't think he wanted, you know, like, oh, big brother, you know, like, you know, and I don't want him to, you know, be in my, you know, shadow or anything like that. And he doesn't want that either. So you know, like I do my best, you know. Obviously, like it's my brother. Like I'm a CN. Like I just took him bowling the other day, you know. But it's like with the building, it's like I'm not just going like oh, you know, like do all that, you know, rah big brother stuff. Because I mean, this is his experience too, right. And I wanted to learn himself. You know, like I told like my dad and my mom really was like, oh, like you gotta take care of him. Like, can he live with you? I'm like, no, because like he gotta learn. He got to learn stuff himself. Like I was here, I didn't have a big brother. Right. And, you know, it makes you a man. And like he leaving home to what? Go to another situation like home pretty much, like where you got someone who, you know, can take care of you. So I'm like, I had to go through it, you know, this is what, you know, I think everybody got to, you know, go through. So, but he's been doing good. I mean, I've been hearing, you know, because as my brother, I'm going to check in. I'm like, man, how's my brother doing? Like I talked to the linebacker, like he's doing good. The biggest thing is, man, he just you gotta eat, man. You gotta eat. But, you know, that's most freshmen coming in. So, but it's definitely a fun experience. It's a blessing, you know, to say, like, you know, your brother, you know, me and my brother went to a school like as prestigious as Michigan. Like, that's like family. That's family changing, you know what I mean? Like, that's family changing. So, hopefully, like, we can both capitalize off of it in the future, you know, with all the opportunities that going to Michigan brings, you know, so.
That's love. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Coach Whitt, man. I mean, you talk about shaping a program in his image. I mean, what has it been like? What has he brought to the table? What do you see as his imprint on Michigan?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Whitt, I mean, it's just, like, I think the biggest word I could say is just, like, experience. Like, I think, like, he's seen everything in the book that that you would want a coach, you know, to see, you know, and it wasn't my first time meeting because I took an official visit to Utah when I was a high schooler. And, you know, I met him and, like, it was cool. I always had respect for him. He was one of the coaches, like, I told people, even, like, before I knew he was coming here, like, I was like, yeah, like him. Like, out of the coaches I met, it was, like, Harbaugh, Saban, you know, Coach Whitt, and, like, a few of them were my favorites, you know. One, you know, was Mel Tucker, but, you know, you can't say that no more. But, you know what I mean? So, but, like, now it's just, like, it's just, like, just seeing the way, like, you know, he carries himself with the program. It's like, he's like a true leader. Like, guys, you know, like, it didn't take a lot. He didn't have to come in here screaming to get anybody's respect. Like, we all know what we're getting with Coach Whitt. And, you know, like, I say this to people, like, he kind of reminds, like, obviously Harbaugh was more, like, goofy, but, like, the serious Harbaugh, like, he kind of reminds me of that. It's like a older guy, but, like, he's, like, serious and about, like, his business. But he doesn't, I wouldn't say he has that goofy side that Harbaugh, like, you know, the goofy, you know how Harbaugh.
Yeah. He had a switch.
Like, but he reminds me a lot of, like, that, like, the way he has the program running. Like, he doesn't need to be, like, an iron fist, like, dictator type of coach. Like, it's like, you know, he puts the rules down, like, guys follow it. There's going to be bad apples now and then, but, you know, he's made it clear, like, he's not sparing anybody. Like, if you're a bad apple, you know, you're going to get weeded out. And, you know, guys bought in, you know, real quick. I mean, we got a lot of respect for him. I mean, because with, like, the unstable coaching we had the last few years, you know, it's like it's a breath of fresh air to have someone come in with a plan, like, you know, who's stable. and it's just like, you know, like that's just it's a coach like you just feel like like I want to play for him, you know. So like there was no trouble, like you know, guys. I mean, of course there were guys that you know that jumped ship, but I mean, that's just always going to happen.
That's always going to happen.
You know, especially in this day and age, you know, with you know you with the paychecks and all that. I mean, like you know, that's just how it is. But I think everyone on the team has a great you know respect for him. I mean, like how could you not? Like dude, you know, rides a motorcycle. Like he work out every day. Like I thought it was a myth. They're like, yeah, he worked out 6,000 days straight. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, but like every day we're in the gym, like I see him working. I'm like, man, like, you know, guys, like you respect someone like that you see putting work on side you. Like it's one thing for a coach to be a coach, but like a coach that tells you to work and he's working too, it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, okay, coach, like you got it, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
So they be in there grinding, huh?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Throwing up some weight?
Yeah, from what I see, I mean, like, obviously he ain't doing nothing crazy, but like, shoot, I mean, for like someone, for someone his age, like, you'd be like, wow, like, you can still do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, dang, coach, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, he a cool dude. You know, he got the motorcycle riding down the tunnel. It's like, man, how could you hate on that? You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. But,
so, you know, on our way out, man, this is, again, not to put pressure on you, but to the extent that you can share them.
Yeah.
Goals for the season, man. I mean, what is the outlook for the season for Enow Etta?
I try not to, you know, I think the last few years I tried to put goals on myself, and it's just like some guys can do it, some guys, you know, it's just my biggest goal is just to put my best before. Like if I could leave every game knowing that, you know, I played my best, my technique was good, I busted my butt, you know, I didn't give up on any play. The athlete I know that I am and the person I know that I am, I'm going to be in a great spot, you know. So that's just my goal. I don't really have any numbers. I mean, you know, like, as a D tackle, like 5 sacks?
Right.
You know, like, like 40, 50 tackles, you know, like, you know, good stuff. But it's just like, I know that, you know, if I bust my butt and I do what I know I can do consistently, you know, the stat sheet is going to take care of itself. And I mean, I think the biggest thing is like with D tackle, I mean, like, obviously stats matter. Like I said, a knock people have with me, like, oh, like he's a great, you know, this and this, but like the production, and it's just like, you know, I'm just gonna make sure, you know, I got to do what I got to do, and I think all that will take care of itself. But I mean, of course, you know, every guy wants 5 sacks, you know, 50 tackles, you know, 10 TFLs, and it's like I said, like if I just, you know, put myself in the best position every game, you know, and that starts on, you know, Sunday, Monday, not even on Saturday, like making sure I'm eating right, making sure rehab, you know, and preparation is good, like I'm in my film, and, you know, on game day, like, you know, doing everything I need to do, like, in my head, like, bro, I know you tired, but, you know, chase it down, don't jog, like, you know, like, people are watching, you know, people want to see, you know, and, you know, show the people what they want to see, and so it's like, if I just do what I know I can do, I mean, you know, everything gonna take care of itself. I wholeheartedly believe that. So that's just my goal, you know.
Yeah, you got me believing, you know. I mean, I was believing before we talked, but you got me believing it anymore, man. So good luck this season. Certainly proud of your progress and your grind through struggle. So good luck this season, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And that'll do it for this edition of Behind the Uniform.